In this video, we're going to analyze Reiner's quote from Attack on Titan. First, let's watch the scene and then we'll go over the grammar.
俺のすべきことは自分のした行いや選択に対し戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ。
Today's quote is 俺のすべきことは自分のした行いや選択に対し戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ。The sentence is a bit long, so I'll divide it into two parts. The main clause, which stands as a complete sentence, and the subsidiary part, which provides additional information. Let's first look at the main clause. 俺のすべきことは戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ。This follows the basic structure. Noun A は Noun B だ。Meaning Noun A is Noun B. We'll break down each noun. Noun A is 俺のすべきこと。The structure involves an adjective clause 俺のすべき modifying the following noun こと。俺 means I in an informal and masculine way. No indicates the subject in an adjective clause, functioning similarly to が。subeki means should do. It's formed by combining su, which is the classical form of suru meaning to do, and beki meaning should. Koto means things that are abstract or intangible. So, 俺のすべきこと means things that I should do. Now, we'll look at noun B. 戦士として最後まで責任を果たすこと。戦士 means warrior. として means as. 最後 means end or last. まで means until. 責任 means responsibility. を marks the direct object of an action. 果たす means to fulfill. こと in this case is used as a nominaliser, which doesn't have a specific meaning on its own, but it turns a verb into a noun to indicate the action as a concept. So, 戦士として最後まで責任を果たすこと means to fulfill my responsibility as a warrior until the end. So the main clause, 俺のすべきことは戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ means what I should do is to fulfill my responsibility as a warrior until the end. Now let's look at the subsidiary part. 自分のした行いや選択に対し This also contains an adjective clause which modifies the following noun. Let's break it down. 自分 is used to refer to the same person within the same sentence. In this case, it refers to 俺 which was mentioned earlier. In Japanese, instead of repeating, we often use jibun to avoid redundancy. No, again, indicates the subject in an adjective clause, functioning similarly to が。shita means did. It's the past tense of する。okonai means action. Sentaku means choice. Ya is used to list representative things. It's similar to and, but it also implies that there are other similar things not mentioned in the list. In this case, it could include things like his decisions, words, and so on. So, 自分のした行いや選択 means the actions I took and the choices I made. In Japanese, we'll use the verb する with these nouns, such as 行いをする and 選択をする. So, 自分のした can modify both 行い and 選択 with a single verb. に対し indicates the target of an action, emotion, or attitude. In this case, it refers to what his responsibility is directed towards. So, 自分のした行いや選択に対し means for the actions I took and the choices I made, or simply for my actions and choices. So today's quote, 俺のすべきことは自分のした行いや選択に対し、戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ means what I should do is to fulfill my responsibility as a warrior until the end for my actions and choices. In the anime, it translates to the only choice for me now is to face the consequences of my actions and, as a warrior, fulfill my duty to the bitter end. Here's today's review. Subeki means should do. To form this expression, you simply attach beki to the dictionary form of a verb. For example, should eat is 食べるべき. Should drink is 飲むべき. Should go is 行くべき. But for should do, there are two ways, するべき or すべき. This す is the classical form of する, which is rarely used in modern spoken Japanese, but it remains in すべき as a commonly used fixed phrase. Now let's practice making words using beki to modify a noun, similar to the structure in すべきこと. Anime that you should watch. 見るべきアニメ。見るべきアニメ。Books that you should read. 読むべき本。読むべき本。Music that you should listen to. 聴くべき音楽。聴くべき音楽。The nominaliser koto changes a verb into a noun. For example, 走ることは楽しい means running is fun. By attaching koto to a verb, you can make the verb into the topic of a sentence. Let's practice making sentences using koto in polite form. Sleeping is important. 寝ることは大切です。寝ることは大切です。My hobby is drawing pictures. 趣味は絵を描くことです。趣味は絵を描くことです。I like eating. 食べることが好きです。食べることが好きです。に対し is a more formal version of に対して that can be translated as towards, in response to, against, and so on, depending on the context. It works similarly to the target particle に but に対して more clearly indicates the target that an action, emotion, or attitude is directed towards, usually in written or formal context. Let's practice making sentences using に対して in standard form. I am satisfied with the service. サービスに対して満足している。サービスに対して満足している。 I answered the reporter's questions. 記者の質問に対して答えた。記者の質問に対して答えた。I protested against power harassment. パワハラに対して抗議した。パワハラに対して抗議した。For more examples, please visit our website. You can find a link in the description below. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.